Sometimes I would make crazy plans, and I'm from Arizona. It's a great place. And it's really hot in Arizona. And so for the summers, my older brother and I, Tom, we would try to find something to do. His name, well, I called him T-Bone. So we'd be outside, and it'd be really hot out, and we decide, hey, we're in Arizona. It's really hot. Fireworks are illegal. Let's play with those. So that's what we did. So we got some fireworks. We had some black cats. You let them off. They're pop, 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 pop. And then finally we got some what's called whistling Dixies, which are really exciting. It's like a long red stick. Then on the end there's like a rocket with a little wick. You light it, and then it makes this sound, and then it blows up in the sky. It's totally sweet. So we're in the backyard, and we are putting them in the ground, and then you light it, and then it just takes off. And then we're just kind of like upping each other. You do this, you try this, you try this, you try that. So finally I say to him, why don't you hold one in your hand? And then I'll light it, and then when it goes off, you just let it go. And I'm his younger brother, so I'm thinking he's gonna think like, that's really dumb, and he's like, okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking, praise the Lord. So he puts it in his hand, he's holding it, and he's holding as far away from the wick as he can, and then I go, and I light the wick, and he was so scared. Something came over him that like all of his muscles tensed up, and he couldn't let it go. So it's like, he's like, and then it just explodes. And he's like, and he just looks at me like, am I alive? And I'm like, that was awesome. It was totally awesome. So then there was like this metal pot. We put it in there. We light one, and it goes out of the metal pot. It goes, and then it just goes quiet. I'm like, where'd it go? And it's not in the air. It's like gone. What happened? So over the backyard, there's just like a little, to the front yard, there's like a little corner of the roof. I'm like, what happened? So I look over the wall really quick, and I see the most amazing thing. Our grass is like totally dead. It's the dead of summer. It's yellow. And suddenly, like I've never seen before, there's miraculously this brown grass growing. I'm like, what is that? And it's growing fast. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, it's a fire! So this fire is just like flying, and it's just growing so fast because everything's so dry. So we run inside, we get all the water, we put the fire out. Mom comes home. She's like, what happened to the front yard? And I'm like, I know what you're thinking. I had this plan. There's this new thing in gardening called brown grass, and we planted it. It took forever, Mom. And I hope you like it, because it's staying. That wasn't the best plan of my life. I remember I was at a party in junior high once. It was like a pool party, and one of my friends got up on the roof, and he had his rollerblades on, and he announces to the party, I'm gonna go off of the roof into the pool. This is my plan. And all of the girls in unison were like, don't do it. And he's like, well, why? And they're like, because you can get hurt. And all of the guys in unison were like, do it. And he's like, why? We're like, because you can get hurt. Sometimes you make good plans in life, and sometimes you make bad plans in life. Those are some bad plans. Today in the gospel, we hear about people making plans against Jesus. We hear people making plans for evil. And in the gospel, we hear this. The Pharisees went out and took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And when Jesus realized this, he withdrew from that place. Sometimes our friends hurt us because they're weak. And they're like, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Or like, I'm so sorry, I'm late. And you're like waiting for them. That's kind of frustrating. But then other times we find out that our friends like planned something against us. And that's so much more painful, isn't it? Like, wait, you did what? To me? Why? I thought we were friends. And the awful thing about sin is that that's what we're doing to the Lord, right? We're planning against the Lord. This is the amazing thing about Jesus of Nazareth. Somebody could come up right here and punch me in the face. Don't do that. You're pro-life. But if somebody could, and then Jesus could come in and he could say, I forgive you for punching Father Parks in the face. Now that only makes sense, or I'm sorry, he could say, I forgive you for punching me in the face. Wait, what? And that would only make sense, of course, if he's personally offended by every sin, which is what he does, which is what he is. And so when we sin, we're making these plans against God. And the scriptures say that he leaves. What does that mean? Does that mean like when I hurt God, when I offend him, when I sin, that he leaves me? Ugh. Now, when I was in high school, like a freshman in high school, I had felt like I'd made some bad choices, like in school, and some things were going on in my family life, and I really, I'm being sincere here, I wanted a time machine to go back to 5th grade. I felt like I was like a really good kid up to 4th grade, and I felt like 5th grade things didn't go so well, so I really wanted to go back, and I was like, I'll be a better student, I'll be a better son, I'll be a better friend, and that'll be good. So I'm literally like 14 years old, and I'm like, man, the plan that I've taken for my life is not the one that I wanted, and I feel like it's just awful, and I wish I could start over. And I'm 14. I literally thought this way. I'm like, when is hope? I mean, when is Lent coming? When is Lent coming? Because I want to give up hope for Lent. It's bad. Yeah, pray for me, right? Brothers and sisters, in the gospel, when it tells us that the Pharisees are planning to kill Jesus and that he runs away from them, it's not because he's running away from the Pharisees. It's because he's running to the Father's will. That's where he's going. Where is he going? He's going to the cross. And then he's going to rise to new life. And that is the plan now that embeds in all of our lives. That's what undergirds all of our lives, that there is a love that's greater than our sin, that there is a light that's greater than our darkness, that there's a healing that's greater than our brokenness, which is always there, which always remains, and we can always go to that. Whatever plans you've made for your life, whatever plans that I've made for my life, some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are crazy, God's plan still remains. And it's always there, and it's always in our lives. And it's because of what Jesus did for us on the cross that we can have hope. So here's what the gospel says. It says that Jesus brings justice to victory, and in his name the Gentiles will hope. Because of what Jesus did for you and me on the cross, we can always have hope. But I've sinned. I've done terrible things. Yes, but I can begin again. I want to teach you a very short prayer. I'd like you to repeat after me. Nunc Chapi. It's Latin. You're like, wow, that guy knows a lot of words. It's Latin. And it's spelled N-U-N-C space C-O-E-P-I. Pronounced Nunc Chapi. So say it again, Nunc Chapi. And it means in Latin, now I begin. It was a favorite prayer of a lot of the saints. Now I begin. Now I begin. Do you ever have that day where you wake up late in the day and you feel like your day is already ruined? You know what I mean? Like you set the alarm for 7 o'clock and you wake up, you're like, it's 3:30. Oh my goodness. What did I do last night? What am I, a newborn baby? It's 3:30, And you're like, you just want to give up on the whole day. You ever that feeling? I just want to give up on the whole day. And sometimes that happens in our lives. We set out on a plan and we realize it's not the plan we want. We just I want to give up. I wish I had a time machine. I wish I could go back. But what the saints teach us, I can always say Nunc Chapi. Because his plan always remains, his plan to save us and to love us. And so I can begin right now. Nunc Chapi. And I just encourage you to do that throughout your life. You didn't have a good morning, things aren't going your way, you're frustrated about something, you say, Nunc Chapi, Lord. Now I begin. Now I'm going to seek your plan with my whole heart right now. I want to close with an image. I hope you've all seen this picture. It's a picture of a guy. He's exhausted, and he's holding a hammer in one hand and a spike in the other. And then behind him is Jesus, and he's holding him up. And Jesus, you can tell on his hands that he has the wounds from the cross. So this guy's exhausted, he's dirty, and you can tell he's exhausted is because he's been crucifying the Lord. When we sin, when we make plans that don't glorify God, we're attacking the Lord, right? It's the sin that we commit is what put Jesus on the cross, right? It offends the Lord. But this picture, what it reveals, this Jesus holding this man, is that there's a love that's greater than that. That whatever plans I've made in my life, his plan still remains. So brothers and sisters, whatever you've done up to this point in your life, whatever plans you've made, whether they're good, whether they're bad, whether they're crazy, the Lord's plan still remains. And that plan is a plan of hope. It's a plan of life. It's a plan of joy.